You ready? Welcome to One More. I'm your host, Brian Erickson. Each week, we bring in two new guests. Sit them down on this big couch here next to Chris. We ask them why they do what they do, and this week, as always, is no exception. We have Tyson Sleete and his band Your Kids, and we have Foxanne joining us. But first, Chris Dubrow.
Hey, Brian.
How was your weekend, man?
My weekend was busy. How was
your weekend was pretty interesting.
We was doing See Her Now.
Which is
my
for
lips
our,
are sunburned.
Yeah, for our viewers, for our international viewers,
Yes.
the See Here Now Festival, it was a 2-day.
Yeah, it was a 2-day music
festival,
festival in Asbury Park. Went really, really well. It was a good time.
It got St. Bruce's blessing
Who's
at
that?
the very
I've
end.
never heard of him.
Well, he's a guy.
Is he the guy?
What it is. Bruce
He's the
is
guy
kinda,
that's got the hungry heart.
Well,
right?
he's kind of like the Jersey Devil. It's like everybody claims to have seen him. Everybody claims to have a story, but nobody. He never actually shows up to.
Yeah.
Things.
What's your Bruce story?
I don't really have. I have a secondhand Bruce story that a girl that I used to date.
What's her name? What does she do? What's her name? Give me full
So-
name and phone number.
I can do all those things off air.
Okay.
But she worked at a deli in Rumson
Mhm.
when she was, like in between semesters in college, which is when we were dating, and he came in. She is from Russia, so she did not know who he was. Like, she came over here when she was in high school. So she, he's like, yeah, I'll have, pork roll, egg and cheese probably. I was like, all right, that'll be like, $6. And he apparently got a little upset because he had a tab there, essentially. He didn't have any money. He asked to speak to the manager, and the manager scolded her
For not
knowing who he was. So she's like, I'm sorry, I was doing my job, asking a customer to pay for a product.
I don't understand. But
Yeah.
she's Russian, so isn't that wouldn't be like from communist and Soviet
Well,
Russia?
yeah,
tab
that
pays
like
you.
the state would be providing
The
you
state-
this sandwich.
Every man by his means.
Yes.
Every deli
Well,
sandwich by its own means.
Lenin said, you look for the person who
I
will
am the
benefit,
walrus?
and
Yeah. I realized the funniest line in that entire movie is when Lebowski goes, "I got a rash, man." That's my favorite line in the movie. What about you? You were up at Woodstock. You were checking out Big Pink.
Yeah, I did the anti-see here now,
Yeah,
where I heard, I was like, nah.
You went away from the ocean for the weekend.
Yeah, but I went up to the Adirondacks for the weekend. I just kind of sometimes you just need that little weekend by yourself.
Yeah.
Got a room at a really nice B&B in Glens Falls, New York.
Oh, yes.
I was the only person there. So this big, spooky sort of old mansion, the lady who ran it, she didn't live there. She's like, yeah, so, here's the key. You're going to be by yourself tonight. You have the whole place to yourself.
It's super duper haunted.
I was, kind of freaked out because it was sort of poorly lit.
Okay. You're, walking around with, a candle late at night.
Yeah, like a candelabra.
A raven flew in and was yelling some shit at you.
And when
the floorboards were beating hearts.
And I was awoken in the night by 3 ghosts.
Oh,
yeah.
There was a rat tapping at your chamber door.
There was. I think we're crossing Dickens and Poe here, but that's okay.
Dickens, who?
Who? But yeah, so that's what I did. So you stayed here and you were with people. I left and I was by myself, and I visited the Big Pink House.
Yeah, that's
with Bob
awesome.
Dylan and the band.
Yeah, I want to go there so bad. But
Let's go.
Well,
me, Connor Bracken. He sent me a text today. He's like, "Does the typewriter still work?" That's all
Connor.
Just out of the blue.
Connor was around all weekend. It was really cool to see him run by.
That's cool. I like Connor. He's like a rock. He's like, to me, he's like Danny Zuko.
I hate Connor Bracken. So Connor, got your number. I'm out to get you. It's actually funny thing about Connor Bracken and his number. His number has never been saved in my phone. There's some kind of weird glitch where it does not. So every time I get a text message from him, it's just from a new number. And it's normally about it's normally some kind of dick joke between he and I. So I'll just get a random number texting me a dick joke at 3 a.m.
Wow.
That's basically Connor Bracken and I's
See,
friendship.
I would really like to I'd like to foster that type of relationship with him.
We'll make it a group chat. It'll just be me, you,
And
Connor Bracken. And speaking of group chats,
and you know what we should do too before we do that is we should also include the other Connor, Roy Orbitron.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because that'll go.
We need
really
a grumpy
well.
old
we
man
need,
in our group.
we need one Connor to cancel out the other.
Yeah, that's the laws.
Yeah.
But you skipped over my really great segue that I had, which was speaking of group chats. We have a group that you're going to chat with.
Yes.
So
let's. You want to bring him out?
No, you can bring him out.
All right, let's bring him out. Tyson Sleete and his new band, Your Kids. I think we can do better than that. How are you? Oh, what do you got? What do you got tattooed on your wrist there? What's that? I didn't see that.
Got all manner of things tattooed.
Really? Well, what does it say?
Well, this one says Sans Dr. Foix, which is from a Arthur Rimbaud poem.
Okay.
And that says Esmusine. It's from The Unbearable Lightness of Being.
Those are that's like we're over here
it's
talking
like
about we're
like
all
Dickens
here.
And Poe, but
yeah. Well, we're Chris and I are here talking about like Big Lebowski jokes. So it's I apologize that's.
Well, I'm very offended.
So you're in a band called Sourland.
I am.
Among we'll get to these guys. Don't worry.
Yes.
Have you and you're based in Lambertville? Have you lived out that way your whole life?
No, I'm Detroit to New York to Chicago to Lambertville.
Really? When you said Chicago, you had the little
Chicago.
Yeah, you had you had the short A in there.
Oh, let me scooch in there. We need the ranch.
Yeah. Don't.
No, I got rid of that. I lived in New York for 7 years, and I spent most of that time trying to get rid of a horrendous.
I took a class
accent.
to get rid of my New York accent. I took a speech pathology class in college, and they, Southern accent. Yeah, best imitation of myself. Thanks, Chris. You're not on camera anymore, Chris. So stop talking. Yeah.
Indeed.
But. So what was it? Let's talk about how things kind of got started for you. What was it like? What was it like around the house? What was the family situation? Was there music in the house when you were a kid? Like
there was an incredible amount of music in the house. No one really played anything, but I was raised on, Prince, things of that nature.
Well, that's a great.
Yeah, and recently I was back in Detroit.
I was raised on Jimmy Buffett, so and that's not a joke.
That explains a lot of things.
It definitely does. Yeah, that's my subpar songwriting.
Oh, nonsense! Come on.
This is not about me. So
yeah, well, it should be.
So do tell. You were back. You said you were back in Chicago recently.
Well, in Michigan.
Oh,
so I was in Michigan before. Chicago was a year and a half thing that I did. I was working a consulting job.
Okay.
Out that way, but no, growing up, music was a huge and important part of my household, and all the classic '60s stuff, and then on to like I was saying, Prince and stuff of the '80s that wasn't horrible, which is.
There's, I think now we're, the '80s has been under that reassessment for the last decade or so, where a lot of people are pulling things from the '80s that aren't. Just those kind of one-hit wonders that seem to be sort of stuck in time that most people before then kind of remembered the 80s for. That's sort of tucked away in nostalgia, but people are like, oh yeah, Prince was in the 80s, Michael Jackson was in the 80s, Whitney Houston was in the 80s. There's a lot of really good, a lot of really great records, a lot of really good songwriting.
Queen, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Exactly. These are seminal things. If only somebody had a podcast.
If only somebody
wherein you would go over important albums.
A great album, if only somebody went over great albums.
You could call them great. Yeah.
So what was
it? Like a terrible idea.
Yeah.
So what was the first album you spent money on?
Oh.
You spent your own money on, not like your parents' money or
That's a damn good question.
Like Christmas card or holiday card money, I should say.
I actually purchased. That's why I thought of Queen. I purchased Queen's greatest hits at a garage sale.
Oh, yes. Vinyl, CD?
It was vinyl. Yes. But I can still think of my first 3 CDs, though.
All right, what do you got?
The first 3 CDs were R.E.M. Automatic for the People.
Okay.
Right? It was actually Collective Soul, Hints, Allegations, and Things Left Unsaid.
That, you know what? Which camera are we on? Which one is that? Not a bad album.
Not a bad album.
Not a bad. Break that fourth wall. Not a bad album. And what was the third one?
The third one was It was actually, it was Bleach.
Okay.
Which was
So
it
like
was random.
R.E.M., Nirvana, and a really popuit album of the time.
It
Like,
wasn't
so
though. No,
that-
because Automatic for the People, and
No, I'm saying
y'all
hits
can correct me
LA
if I'm
so
wrong, but like
R.E.M. all time, Nirvana
Yeah,
all time,
yeah.
and Collective Soul was
And
was
then
popular.
Ephemera,
though. It was
yeah.
a really popular record.
Yeah.
So like that's not so bad.
yeah, it wasn't horrible.
You want to know my first three?
Yeah, shoot 'em.
The Ghostbusters soundtrack,
Yes.
the Aladdin soundtrack, and Revolver.
that all right. That
I'm
is
dead serious. I'm dead serious. That was it. Those three.
That is a
Those are
grab
the
bag that if you were at Amoeba Records and they were doing some sort of
Yep.
like, this is the Paper
$5,
Jets,
yeah,
50 years after their seminal album. What is Brian picking up at Amoeba Records?
That's it, though. I'm telling you. So you had a decidedly better. I mean, Revolver.
Revolver offsets the,
It at
it
least
offsets it.
outdoes Collective Soul. I
It
think.
certainly
So,
does.
When did things start to kind of take a turn for you, though? When did it start to kind of click that music would be something you'd pursue seriously?
I pursued it aggressively, but not seriously in Detroit. I was in a lot of punk rock bands, screaming.
Like when? 90s, early 2000s?
Late 90s, early 2000s.
What was it like?
It was fun because it was just a bunch of friends getting together at people's punk rock houses, which were just debauched places of ill repute.
Because that was a thing, though. You think about the early 2000s and punk rock like emo and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That was really kind of coming up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I would have sung emo had I been able to sing emo, but but no, I could just scream, so I screamed a bunch.
And you were the front person.
Yeah.
in
Well, I
these
was that
projects?
guy. If you're going back to the late 90s, early 2000s, that guy. The guy who would just be running around in circles screaming. You can't particularly figure out what he's screaming about, but you can tell he's fucking into it.
Okay, but there's
I'm
a
sorry,
lot
can I curse on here?
well, you can now.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. You can curse.
I did hear a shit earlier from
That's okay.
I took
Yeah,
that as
it's
license.
okay. It's okay.
I took that as a license.
Wow. Yeah, you just threw Chris under the bus, man. So, wow, Matt Smith. He shoots, he scores. All right. So, so you're in this punk rock scene in Detroit, and now you, or at least when you and I started becoming acquainted a couple years ago, probably like 2 years ago, maybe, give or take.
Maybe even a little more. I would think.
I don't know.
Time goes really quickly.
It's funny because I usually like to open with like, oh yeah, so we met. I don't remember where and when we met. It's sometime in the last few years, but I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Probably somewhere around New Hope, most likely.
Most likely.
But and it's this kind of earthy, rootsy, like kind of back to basics sound. With when I became familiar with your work, it was through Sourland. So how did that all what changed? Because I mean, people that were in bands like that, those punk bands, kind of still hold true. Like, what still holds true from that time that you apply to your work now, or that you applied to Sourland when you first started?
That's a really good question. I think ultimately it's trying to have some sort of truth in songwriting.
Okay.
And something that you actually believe in, or being illustrative in any way, shape, or form, using allegory, symbolism, whatever you're using, to try to contact something that's real. And when I got done playing in punk rock bands, I started to get more into like the anti-folk scene, like the indie folk scene.
Yeah.
And that's when I moved out to New York to play with a couple of friends and a couple of bands. And I was really moved by the honesty of it.
Like, what were you listening to at the time? What was kind of getting you going?
Oh, I mean, like Neutral Milk Hotel.
Okay.
I mean, that is like one of my all-time top favorite.
Of course.
Yeah, because it's lyrically. I'm a lyrics person.
Okay.
I'm 100% a lyrics person.
First
so like
album's better than the second one.
Avery Island and
Shots fired.
Oh my gosh, shots fired.
No, I know it's four take.
Yeah, no, but
Look at the rage. Look at the rage.
no. Airplane is a perfect album in a
Airplane
lot of
is
ways.
wonderful. It's
in a lot of
excellent.
ways. However, I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree that Avery Island, Song Against Sex, things like that. I mean, they're so visceral. They're so. I mean, But I would also say that he returned to form a little bit with like Live at Jittery Joe's, things of that nature. Like I Will Bury You in Time, the Phil Spector song.
Oh man!
And I know that a lot of people hate I Will Bury You in Time. They think like that's where he jumped the shark, but I totally disagree with that.
That's a other people problem.
Yes,
that's not a.
Well, it's going to be an us problem when you're getting the comments on the.
Yeah, that's fine. Leave the comments to the comments section.
Yes, but no, I appreciate Avery Island. And I'll also like even the deeper cuts, like the unreleased stuff that they recorded once, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years ago when they put out that huge box set.
Yeah.
And there was,
and now
just gold there, which we used to have these like really bad, like Tascam recordings of them that somebody was at a show at some point in, 1995.
5, 6,
And then they captured it. But, I've listened to the hell out of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because you only really have 2 records.
You barely hear it. You're just trying to make out, what is he? What did he say? Yeah, exactly.
So now so you moved from punk rock. Now you're kind of this like anti-folk sort of New York guy.
Yeah, it was like the Sidewalk Cafe. If anyone used to play there, still plays there. That was a huge inspiration. We moved out to Bushwick from Detroit with a bunch of friends, and. A lot of them I'm still very good friends with to this day. I was out in Brooklyn, which we talked about this last weekend.
Getting out of town.
Getting out of town with my best friend Mike Campbell. Shout out to Mike Campbell if you're watching.
Oh yeah, from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah, that. Mike Campbell.
That Mike Campbell. Yeah. He played in Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and then, decided to get into the anti-folk scene.
He should have really gotten you in on that.
Yeah, I know. I'm still waiting.
Yeah, he tried to get Dave Grohl, but he didn't.
I know. He didn't even think of me. This is really unfortunate.
So Sourland starts up in 2014. It's you and Joe.
Joe Skirty. Yep.
And it's kind of been the two of you guys more or less the whole time, like as the sort of nucleus of the band. If I'm not.
It had been. Joe, as of after we got off of our tour last year in 2017, around like the July, August time period, he had a lot of back surgeries, and he got to a point where he couldn't play drums anymore.
Okay.
Which is terribly unfortunate.
Yeah. Especially because that's your guy.
He was the only other founding member, Yeah, so that was definitely a difficult thing, and it took us about a year to find, somebody else who we feel comfortable with, playing drums in that band, which we have.
I mean, I saw you 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and that was, with all respect to him, like that was one of the better sets I've probably ever seen from you guys.
I am, and there's something about the vibe with Sourland right now.
And got Justin Pope in there now.
We got young Justin Pope,
one of my favorite humans.
Which, by the way, and mine as well. And to continue a conversation that you and I had at a party.
Oh boy!
About a year and a half ago.
I remember that. I don't remember much from that party. I remember toasting beers in the pool with Chris and Jesse McCormick. And I remember sitting on lounge chairs with you toasting whiskey, maybe?
Were you at Megan O'Shea's?
Yes. Yeah. That's how we know each other. Yeah. Yeah.
We were all.
But we both talked about how much we love Justin Pope's songwriting.
Yes.
And
the thing you have him in your band.
It's incredible to have a collaborator of that caliber. I mean, it's ridiculous. But a little bit towards you again, and I'm reverse interviewing to an extent, but
I will not allow that to happen. You can
Justin,
say what you need to say.
You got Justin to say there will be, and with the finger pointed at that camera or that camera, whichever camera it was
on,
there will be released Justin Pope material coming up.
I hope so.
And that made me very excited.
Doesn't lie to our viewers.
Well, we're gonna just not let it go away. I mean, we have to continue to push that.
I texted him just the other night about that.
But anyway, so our current configuration, we have Ryan Whittemore, who is just a preposterous drummer.
Yes. And you've got the legend.
We've got
Brian
Green, but Brian Green joined Sourland at a point where it needed a direction melodically that I could not provide it.
Okay.
And so to me, Brian Green is, aside from being like an incredible friend of mine, like but somebody who actually like saw the material, listens to it, hears it, and writes to it in a way that it's taken it to completely other levels that, you know.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean that's my guy.
So let's introduce this whiskey-based project here.
Yes.
I feel bad because we're just chatting away, and this is mostly my fault because we've been saying we've needed to sit down and have a long-form conversation, but we only get like a short-form conversation
Indeed.
here. But so this is a new project called
Yes.
Your Kids.
Indeed.
And who else do we have on the couch here?
We have young Christina Ward right here is
Excellent.
my sister. Not literally, but kind of.
Okay, that's fair.
And then we
Well,
have
like Chris and I are kind of father and son.
yes, yes, in the same way,
Son.
And then we have Matt Foster here, who is as well a kid.
Okay.
We also have Dallas Hosey involved with the band, and
Dallas.
Ryan Whittemore as well.
Okay.
So
some family members there too.
it's all
essentially.
family. It's your kids. It's all about family.
So how did this start? How did this all get together?
Christina
because
and
you've
I.
already got like an EP coming too.
Yes, we do. We do indeed. So Christina and I got together in kind of toward the beginning of the year, and we just drank a bunch of whiskey, and we're like, hey, can we write songs together? And then we just like ground up, wrote a ton of songs really quickly, and then started recording them, and really happy with what we've put together. So.
Excellent, and I've heard some of these.
You're one of the few,
recordings
yes, thus far,
already, and
yes.
I'm really excited. Now, do you feel that you can maybe take this project a little further than Sourland has gone thus far?
I see it as apples and oranges entirely.
Okay.
I really do. I mean, I think it's different muscle groups, working out different muscle groups.
Okay.
What we try to do with Your Kids is just pull out all the stops of any sort of songwriting methods or tropes or anything that we're used to doing, and just drop that down to the bottom and say, okay, well, we're just going to do like 4 chords of something and just be really a little bit more bass with the lyrics. And come from, so to me, like it's like leg day and arm day, like which I've obviously skipped all of those things, but to me it's 2 totally separate exercises.
Okay.
In writing.
And I'm excited to see this because this will be. Do you guys play out a lot, or is this?
Yes, we are going to be starting to play out a lot. Like. Okay. We're doing Brighton Bar on the 18th with Ashley DeLima,
okay,
amongst others.
And you guys are going to do. I've got an open slot at the Asbury Hotel on the 24th. So
Done.
You guys are going to do that one, right?
Done.
Boom. Booked. That's
Done.
It.
Done.
So my last question is. How do you feel as kind of in your mid-30s? We're contemporaries.
I'm 22.
Starting a brand new project, and still kind of just doing the grind, playing the shows, playing the same places we play and stuff like that. How do you feel kind of taking on a brand new project as you've been sort of working this cycle for this long? And what do you feel this new project can sort of bring?
Well, something that I enjoy about working with this new project is it's a different audience. Mm-hmm. I think that the people who are going to be interested in Your Kids music are not necessarily the same people who are going to be interested in the Sourland music, and so as a result of that, it's 2 separate methods of.
They're laughing at you.
No, it's
they are
not,
laughing at you.
It's just no.
Anyway, it's dichotomous. I'll put it at that.
Okay. So we're gonna get to hear
yes,
some of
indeed,
this music in a little bit, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes.
So Tyson, Your Kids.
Love you, buddy.
Love you.
Aww. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Let's go. Touch each other.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Brian.
Welcome back.
Good to be back, man. The couch is nice and warm now. This is great. Ladies and gentlemen, One More is brought to you by You Don't Know Jersey. Founded in 2010 by Alice and Ed Maziak. God, I hope I got that right. You Don't Know Jersey has been covering all the best music, food, sports, art, and cultural events that the Garden State has to offer for nearly a decade. Dennis, you can come in.
Come on in, Dennis.
Speaking of, hey, Dennis, my father, have you ever wondered where you can find the tastiest pig feet souffle in Gloucester County?
I just had some.
He just had some? That's bullshit, because we all know that the best pig's feet, is that what we're up? Pig's feet
Yes,
souffle?
pig's feet souffle.
This is a fucking nightmare.
They get weirder every week, man.
It's in Essex
They get
County,
weirder
of
every
course.
week, man.
I'm really not looking forward to reading this next one, but I'm going to do it anyway. Hey, Nash! Do you want to know where a good place is to watch sports on TV while you wear an expensive shirt with the name of a grown man on the back whom you've never met and most likely will never meet in your life, but will still form a detailed and falsely informed opinion of? Of course you do, because this is New Jersey, and we're all a bunch of fucking lemmings that like to be told where to watch sports stuff. God damn it, Brian. So, whether you're in High Point...
So just as a quick disclaimer, I write these.
He writes
So,
these,
like,
and I don't
write
read
Chris,
them.
I write Chris's bits.
Oh, man. Jesus Christ. So, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're in High Point, Cape May, or anywhere in between, check out YouDon'tKnowJersey.com for all the latest. You don't know Jersey, but they certainly do. That's not their slogan.
You
Brian.
can. She's a songwriter, a blogger, and a champion of science, whose new EP, Halfling, is available everywhere. Let's bring up Foxanne.
Howdy.
Howdy, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Thank you. Oh,
How are you doing?
good,
Yeah, well-
good. Commander.
Oh, thank you.
I noticed the three pips.
It's like a casual commander. Yeah.
Okay.
It's in my next project.
I appreciate that. That's not a
actually not
bad
bad.
casual commander.
Right?
It's better.
It's like
Chris
an
and I
electronic
came.
project somewhere. That exists somewhere.
Chris and I came up with the best / worst
What was it?
beige babies.
Beige Babies is really good. Oh, I had an even worse one. I'm going to
Are you
derail it.
kidding?
This is the worst one. I'm doing a pop punk band called Hand and Mouth Stuff. That's fucking...
Are you going to open exclusively for the front bottom?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm just going to do
Back
front
in my
bottom
hair.
songs
I'm upset.
faster.
I'm upset.
So Foxanne has as a musical project has been going on for about 4 years or so, give or take.
Yeah,
At least
3-4
according to my
years.
research, your demo came out in 2014.
Yes.
And you recorded a couple videos, did a few early singles right
Yes.
next door. at
Literally
Lake House.
next door.
Yeah, quite
Yeah.
literally. And you worked with Eric from Dolly's.
Yes, I did. He was wonderful. He was lovely.
And how important was it for you to have that experience in that environment that early in the project?
I guess it really helped me figure out what I wanted my sound to be, because I still at that time it wasn't like, I mean, it's still not fully formed, but it's never fully formed, but it was
Well,
Yeah.
it breathes like any good project. Like it lives
Exactly.
and breathes and it grows with you.
but it was very much like in a transitional period musically, and having that extremely professional experience. Meanwhile, my demo recorded in a very nice but very New Brunswick basement.
And I mean, the demo is great too.
Thanks,
like
thanks.
I mean that for a while, that was the only thing you
Oh,
could really find.
That was
so.
really it. But that really kind of gave me a taste of what it could sound like and what I really wasn't trying to do and what I liked about it. And I think it was a really great stepping stone, and everyone at Lake House is just like dope. So that was fun.
Excellent.
if that is important.
Well, yeah, no, but I think I'm probably a little too old to use the word dope, but I think having thoughtful collaborators, or maybe for the younger audience, having dope ass collaborators.
I think it's lit or litty now, right?
I don't
know.
know.
I'm not 15.
Yeah,
Having collaborators that make you feel like a damn king, Brian.
You're gonna let Let me live that down.
Nope, never
So
done that.
you released an EP back in
Yes.
April called Halfling.
Yes, I did.
It's so good. What makes this a little different from the stuff you were doing, at Lake House and the demos and, when you were kind of spending time in New Brunswick? Like, what's different about this one?
Definitely. So we recorded that probably too long before we actually released it. But I think since the early
You've been
New
kind of
Brunswick,
like stockpiling a little bit.
yeah, not on purpose, but money and life. So, but we've been basically, we started at kind of like a indie rock point. We've just been gradually moving farther away from rock and just kind of figuring out what other sounds are out there. So Halfling was really like a big step along the way with like, what can we do? Like, what can we change? I don't know. It was just like playing around and making the songs that I really love. And then literally we released that and then we changed our whole band setup. Just to be assholes.
Well, no, but like we said, though,
Yeah.
a project like this lives and breathes and grows. So why wouldn't you there's no good or bad time to make those types of changes. So,
Totally.
Why not just do it?
We released the record and immediately took bass out of the band, made the drums a lot more like percussive and less like rock drums, which was actually happened in studio because our drummer Andrew, he's like a classical percussionist who went to like Juilliard for 1,500 years or whatever. So he came into the studio with like a bag of mallets, like 6 triangles and like all of this shit, and he was just like, hey, like, do you mind if I like try some stuff? And I was like, please.
Yeah, why not?
So after that we've been kind of using that.
Now you're based in Brooklyn now.
Yes.
How's the music scene up there?
Well, it's
Because
weird.
I see kind of pinball back and forth from there to still kind of New Brunswick sometimes. And
Yeah, I feel like I'm always just in different places in the tri-state area. I don't play in Brooklyn primarily, which is weird, but I've only been there for less than a year. I've been in New York for a number of years, but I was literally, before I was on the George Washington Bridge, so a literal walk to Jersey. So now we're kind of slowly immersing ourselves in the Brooklyn scene, getting to know a little bit more. We just played Sunnyvale, and now we're like, okay, this is Brooklyn. We're getting used to it.
You're becoming part of it.
Testing the waters.
You played with my friend Jake on a rooftop, right? Jake McKelvey. Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. Good guy.
And what kind of transition has that been like, going from, kind of a real tight-knit New Brunswick scene to sort of a bit of a free-for-all in New York, where it's just like you're sort of just dropped into the hot water and it's like, yeah, just go.
Well, it's weird because like even in New Brunswick, like I was always kind of like a little bit outside of the scene. Like I was never like fully ingrained in the basement scene. I was never in like the open mic kids scene or like the singer-songwriter scene. So I've always just kind of bounced around from like scene to scene, not on purpose. It's like not that fun, but and like Asbury, I love coming to Asbury. And
well, we're happy to have you, of course.
Thank you. But yeah, I've always been kind of on the outskirts of like the tightly knit scene, so it's not that big of a transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
So always,
Weirdly.
what's that?
Weirdly, I don't know.
No, but I think that's, that almost, because I feel like sometimes if you're a little too ingrained, you get stuck.
I've seen that happen.
And
I've
it's,
seen it happen.
yeah, of course. And I mean, we have conversations about that all the time. Like nobody wants to get stuck. You always want to leave that room for growth. If you have to leave a scene, you can kind of do it comfortably.
If you need to move to LA for a couple of months, chill out. Everyone does that, right?
Everybody does. So basically what you're saying is you've got an announcement. You're about to start your sort of LA period.
God, I wish, because
Get John Bryan to produce a record
Just
for
driving
you.
down like the Pacific Coast Highway,
the PCH.
Oh, excuse
I'm
me.
sorry.
Listen,
Yeah.
my girlfriend's from California.
Do
so
like a
I
little,
terribly hate
do a
that state.
collab with like Father John Misty, like really just
Father
get
John
everything.
Misty.
I have mixed feelings, but I do it in a heartbeat.
I think a lot of people have mixed feelings about
Yeah.
him.
I
but
would. That's what you got to say to him if you ever meet him. It was like, I have mixed feelings.
Hi, nice
about
to meet you. I have mixed feelings. Yeah.
Well, he's not a father, and his name isn't John Misty.
Well,
so.
I mean,
that's
it's
the first issue.
Yeah,
right?
let's
well,
start
it's
there.
it's
Main
I
issue.
think something like that, a person v persona, which I don't know if I want to get into the persona of
Like
Father
this
John Misty.
wild, violent onstage Foxanne persona I have. It's really just it's so different from my real self that it's sometimes confusing.
Yeah, no, I've seen it get very, very violent. If you guys go to a Foxanne show,
watch out.
You might want to use those, those safety goggles.
Gigi Allen,
steel toe boots.
Steel toe boots, safety
up.
goggles, hazmat. If you have hazmat optional.
It's like
hazmat optional. Yeah.
Foxanne is like the in between of Gigi Allen and Gallagher. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like there might be watermelon smashing. We're building up. Like
I wouldn't waste watermelon. I'm not an animal.
Come on.
God, get it right.
We're calling out everyone. We're calling out Gallagher. We're calling out Father John Misty. Who else?
Yeah, we're just dropping names. I need a broom and sweep all these names up. So tell us about Andrew and Michael. Tell us about the rest of the band.
Yes. So I mentioned Andrew before.
Yep.
He's a classical percussionist, and he's just kind of all percussion all the time. Though recently he's been very obsessed with chess. I built him a chess table. It's a whole thing.
That's very thoughtful.
Thank you. I mean, we date, so it was his birthday allegedly.
But even still though, nobody's. I mean,
no one forced me to do it. Fair.
No one built me a chess set. I'm not building it. But then I'm not building a chess set for anybody either. So we could all be so lucky.
Put it out there to get it back, Brian.
No, exactly.
Relationship with women.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
So yeah, he's a classical percussionist. He's freelancing, so he'll do private lessons. He'll go tour with orchestras for short periods of time, and then he'll grace us with his presence. And Mike is an electrical engineer, which is also super cool. We've known each other since freshman year of college. We were in the same dorm.
Oh, wonderful.
And both just no idea what was fucking going on. We still have no idea, and we became friends, and we tried to make music a couple times, and we were just fuck it. And then Foxanne was starting to be a thing, and he had just left a band, and he was like, hey, let's jam. And I was like, awesome. And it just totally fits. He's super great.
Yeah, and I've seen him play bass. I've seen him play keys. I've seen him play drums at one of your shows.
Oh, geez, back in the day, things are different.
But no, I mean that really speaks to the versatility of these two people that you've kind of recruited into the ranks.
I'm really lucky.
And how valuable is that to the music, to the production, to the presentation of the band that you could kind of go kind of synthy and airy in one environment, and then you can just go full blown power trio in another.
Yeah, and it really gave us the space to figure out what arrangement we like best. Because for a year or two, we were we don't know what's happening. Should we do this? Should we do this? And then we released Halfling, and we had been rehearsing a lot. And we were just all right, Mike is playing synth, Andrew's playing drums, and let's try our best to copy Fleet Fox's harmonies.
Okay. Those are good to I would say good harmonies to shoot for.
Yeah, it's if there's anyone I will just shamelessly copy, it's the Fleet Foxes.
No, that's you could do a lot worse than that.
You're not going to hear any today.
LGBTQ rights. How does that make its way into your art?
I don't know. I think it's just in the day and age we live in, it's just kind of a part of being a person. I don't know. It's just how it feels to me. Just you're a person, so that's kind of how it is. But it's also, I guess it's made me a lot more conscious of how I write things and lyrically and my audience and speaking to people. It's just made me a little bit more aware of myself, I guess, trying to be. So,
Did that come sort of naturally, or did you just sort of, feel and, do your best to kind of capture the moment and use your platform for that? I
think it's just, I don't know, being a person. I don't know. My amazing interview answer. I don't know, Brian.
No, but that's okay. It's because it seems to just come it's never forced. And I'll admit when I sort of have my own internal questions, sometimes I will reference things that you've said or that you've posted.
That's really nice.
No, and I'm serious. I'm 100% serious.
Really?
Yeah, because you seem like a person that kind of gets it, and it just comes it's not, you're not. I mean, you're kind of shouting it to people, but you're not hey, listen to this. You're just hey, here's some information for you to
Well, I guess like as a writer,
to help make yourself
like,
better and more informed.
Yeah, like my brain is always just like, these are things that are happening, and like when it's just like too much or things are just like horrible, I'm just like, I have to write this down and either like shout it at Andrew or shout it at the internet. So it, it might end up online or it might end up just at my cat.
No, but it is. I guess the point is too. It is at least by this person. It is being seen and heard and digested in a thoughtful way, and I I appreciate
really
that.
Lovely to know. Thank you, Brian.
Now, how can I guess this might be a little bit of a heavy question, but I mean, you figure because of everything that's obviously like in the news, especially in the past like week or two.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, like how can men who want to engage in the conversation do it in a thoughtful and considerate way?
By not speaking first, maybe? By like just listening to the women around them and just gathering information. I think that, I find this in science a lot too, that like the most important thing is educating yourself in a way that's comfortable for you and that where you feel like you really understand something. Because I feel like a lot of times, especially on the internet, people either get defensive or they get uncomfortable, and so they speak first. And if you're outside of the group that you're speaking about and you don't really have that much information, it just, it's just not, it's not as constructive as you might want it to be. So I think just reading, go to the library. Having fun isn't hard when you've got a library card.
Place for you, place for me, local public library. Yeah.
My mom works for the public library.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's sick.
And my last question for you is, you're a blogger, and
I write.
Yeah, and I read you wrote a really touching piece about the late Sally Ride.
Yes.
And you included this really good quote from her, you can't be what you can't see. And through your own writing, your music, and your advocacy, what is Foxanne doing to help be kind of a living part of that really good example?
Jesus, Brian, come on. Jeez, give me a harder question. I mean,
I'm not suggesting that that's like your responsibility.
No, of course.
I'm just thinking, you write this and you write these things, but not only that, you seem to kind of live by these examples that you share with people.
I guess like my writing with Foxanne and my work as a science writer and all of that, it's me personally trying to figure out myself and like who I think I am and just becoming comfortable as a person and like being like, okay, these are the things about myself and I'm okay with that. And I think I'm trying to put that forth in my music and make maybe that kind of the overarching thing. I don't know, like, because whatever your thing is, you want to be comfortable with yourself as a person and you want to know yourself. And I think a lot of music is just trying to figure out who you are. And so I think just trying to be okay with that is like a huge part of it.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you so much, Foxanne. We're going to hear some
welcome.
Music in a little bit.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This has been our pleasure.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Oh, pleasure.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I need to get up, right?
Yep. I'm going to move this chair too. Oh my God. We have so much to do. Give me a second. I promise. Hey, Nash, come on, man. I'm doing a lot here. Ladies and gentlemen, OneMore Brian Erickson is brought to you by the Asbury Park Music Foundation. The APMF, or AMF, if you're feeling frisky, raises money to support youth music programs throughout Asbury Park that provide lasting skills, self-confidence, and life-changing experiences for the underserved kids in our community. I will do all this as chaos goes on behind me. This includes funding for the Hip Hop Institute at the Boys and Girls Club of Monmouth, in-school music programs at Hope Academy, and scholarships for kids to attend the Lake House Music Academy located right over there. APMF, or AMF, also hosts free summer concert series to bring communities together through the power of music. Music Mondays at Springwood Park brings the past and present together to showcase what Asbury has to offer. The Asbury Park Concert Band, now in its 73rd years of shows on the boardwalk, playing jazz and big band music,
and Asbury Park Live on Wednesdays in front of Mogo and Watermark, which spotlights emerging bands from all over New Jersey. They're moving a couch right next to me, ladies and gentlemen. If you're interested in keeping Asbury Park's legacy of music alive by making a meaningful difference for the underserved youth in our community, head to Asbury Park Music Lives or AsburyParkMusicLives.org to make a donation. And while you're there, pick up a Music Saved Asbury Park t-shirt. All proceeds make it possible to support Music Save My Life youth program. As always, we want to send love to Jim for letting us do this every week and yelling a bunch. And now, oh my God, I think we're actually able to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for your kids!
Broken bars and security screens, floors cold, windows barring the sea. Don't get out, but I get around. It's hard to make it matter to me. To use it, got a knife, and I'm not afraid to use it, got a job, and I'm not afraid to lose it, got a knife. Shit split decisions, and the price of now can't get high enough to get in my head. Past bullet holes that were headed for me, I can't sleep till I know that I'm dead. Got a knife, and I'm not afraid to use it, got a knife. And I'm not afraid to use it, got a job. And I'm not afraid to lose it, got a knife.
Living good now. Got some cash in my pocket. Small animals digging out my red eyes. Afraid to use it, got a knife, and I'm not afraid to use it, and I'm not afraid to lose it, got a knife.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Excellent.
So we got a record coming out like at some point in early December. Got a record release show, John and Peter's Place, New Hope, Pennsylvania, November 30th. And here's another song from it. gets louder, lifted off the ground. It's hard science. Station, I'll keep my head down. No violence. Heard you coming blocks away. Heard you coming one block away. No one's running into our last days. Get hit, keep riding into that violence. 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 Get hit, keep riding into that violence.
Thank you, brother.
I enjoyed that a bunch.
Hey, everyone, we're going to do a weekend event. Hold on. I have it. Second, Fall Acoustic Festival with Catherine Quintana and the Foes of Fern at the Seine at 6:45 p.m. The Foes of Fern are playing? What a miracle. Paranoid, Chrome Skulls, Coward at the AP Brewery at 7 p.m. Sahara Moon, Riley Shiro, and the writer of such hits as Rhinestone Cowboy and Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls, Mr. Dave Vargo at the Downtown at 8 p.m. Wednesday, October 3rd, Spanish Love Songs, Brackish, Hassel, Espiga at the AP Brewery at 7 p.m. Good God. Deirdre Forrest. I got it. Deirdre, Melissa, help me. Deirdre Forrest, Frank Lombardi, the one, the only, and James Dalton at the Asbury Hotel at 7 p.m. Thursday, October 4th, Kim and Dave at Novita Bistro and Lounge at 6 p.m. Friday, October 5th, Toy Cars, Quinn Sakala, I hope I got that right, and also at TCNJ College Union Board at 6 p.m. Mike Virock and Frank Lettieri of the Paper Jets perform in the Kelsey Theater's rendition of American Idiot at Mercer Community College at 8 p.m. Don't want to be an American Idiot, ladies and gentlemen. My brother, Matthew Brown, the Captives, the Porchistas, and Joshua Marks are at the Asbury Hotel at 9 p.m. Saturday, October 6th. Happy birthday, Joe Ruff of the Afraid Brigade, I believe. I didn't double check that, but I think it's true. The Asbury Park Zombie Walk at Convention Hall. Go get spooky. Metuchen County Fair featuring the musical stylings of Brian Erickson, ever heard of them? And Community Center, the best band in the land, at 10 a.m. Check out MetuchenChamberExchange.com for more details. Above the Moon, Hartley Dodge Memorial at 2:45 p.m. The North Jersey Indie Rock Festival, White Eagle Hall at 4 p.m. There's a lot of bands. I'm going to do my best. Glazer, X-Made, Glenn Morrow's Cry for Help, the Royal Arctic Institute, Yawn Mower, The Components, The Vaughns, Dentist, a bunch more. Professor Caveman's on that. That's awesome. Asbury Lane's Power of Females with Taylor, Toa, Pepper One, and Nalani and Serena. The Fletchers and Foxfire, John and Peters at 8:30 p.m. Joe Yoga, Twigga, Dalton, Deshane, and the Hell Yeah Babies at the Footlight at 9 p.m. No Gods, Harrowing, Horrifying Spirit, Two-Faced, Two-Faced Fist Cryptic at the Brighton Bar at 9 p.m. Sunday, October 7th, Asbury Park Punk Rock Flea Market Convention Hall. Brian Erickson, never heard of him, will be playing at Bordentown Cranberry Festival at 11 a.m. Roadside Graves, RGD Community Center, and Low Light at the Old Franklin Schoolhouse at 3 p.m. Jillian L., Anthony Campana, Broken Angels, and more at the Brighton Bar at 6 p.m. And close out your weekend at the Scarlet Pub and help celebrate Caroline Romanelli's 3rd anniversary as they're booking, featuring the Secret Nudist Friends, of which I have several, and am one myself. God damn you, Brian. Jeff Linden and the Black Spot Society, the one, the only, and the other only, the one, the best, and the most badass, Kate Dressed Up. The Scarlet Pub, 8 p.m. If you're not there, just stay home. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a big nerd with a bigger heart and the biggest voice, Foxanne!
Whoa.
So I came over for the whiskey and strawberries. How you were fine, and you tasted sweet, so sweet. Oh, you weren't mine. Please apologize for me to that girl hanging on your sleeve. You could blame it all on me. You can blame it all on the Jim Beam. Blame it on me. You know I came over for the whiskey or strawberries. Oh, you were fine, and you tasted sweet, so sweet. Oh, you were mine. Oh yeah, you knew. No, yeah, you knew it all along. I'm sure you did. Now take the fall. I'll take it all. I'll take it all. I'll take it all. You know I stayed over not for the whiskey or strawberries. Oh, you were fine, and you tasted sweet, so sweet. Oh, you weren't mine. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You're welcome. It's really fun doing really loud full band songs solo because everyone's like, is she really just screaming over there? All right, this is applause. We all love you. We all do. We all love you. We do. 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 We stole off in Maryland, ran through farm trails, we ran. Bluest midnight, sharpest words. We breathed, we laughed, it hurts. And we'll breathe, we'll laugh, it hurts. We do. We do. We do. We do. We do. We do. Let's give him one last round of applause for you, for all that you've done. Let's give him one last round of applause for you, for you. We do. We do. We do. We do. We do. We do. We do.
That was unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Do you want to sit on the rum?
Oh yeah, we get to do that.
You guys go on stage. You guys get on stage. We'll sit down.
Oh, it's cute.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's all cute. I got you.
I don't want to sit in the DI box.
Yeah, no, definitely. You sat on the DI box last time. That was not a good look. Oh wow, we're Mr. Rogersing
Yeah.
too. That's why I just do this. I don't even need to untie. Yeah, Chris grows a cardigan. So thank you so much, Foxanne Tyson and your kids, live from the Asbury Park Music Foundation. And for Chris Dubrow, I am, I have been, and I remain Brian Erickson. Good night, everybody.